Okay, so just some reminders. Don't forget that you have a Module 2 quiz next class. So on Thursday, October 26th, it'll be over all of Module 2. So it'll cover Chapter 3, which was what we tested on last test, and all of your surface area and volume things we've covered up until this point. So make sure that you're studying, make sure you're coming into tutorials, Trailblazer time, if you need any help. Especially after today's lesson, being that I'm not really here to answer questions. If you have questions, please come into tutorials so that we can make sure that you're successful on the quiz on Thursday. Okay, last class we looked at surface area and volume of cylinders, spheres, and prisms. Today we are looking at the surface area and volume of pyramids and cones. So, starting with our notes. Pyramids and cones both have two different heights. Okay, the distance perpendicular to the center of the base is called the height. And in your formula, the height is referred to as h. The distance that bisects one of the lateral sides is called the slant height. And we talked about the slant height briefly last class. And remember that the slant height is the cursive L that is in your formula. Okay, so we're going to look at a few examples. Okay, example 1. Find the lateral area, surface area, and volume of the pyramid. Round your answers to the nearest tenth if possible. Okay, so first it wants us to name what shape we have here. Okay, the shape that we have here is what we call a pyramid. Okay, I want you to take 30 seconds and fill out what each of these letters stands for. Okay, hopefully you said perimeter of the base. Area of the base. Slant height. In your formula, it's more of a cap or of a cursive L. And H is just height. Okay, now we are going to find what each one of these values are given our picture. Okay, so the perimeter of our base, we are assuming that our base is a square. Okay, so 10 all the way around, which would also update our name to a square pyramid. Okay. Your perimeter of your base is then 40 units. In this case, we're in centimeters, so 40 centimeters. Okay, the area of our base is 100 centimeters squared. So length times width, 10 times 10. Your slant height. Okay, remember that the slant height bisects one of the lateral sides. So this little guy right here is your slant height. Okay, which is 13 centimeters. Okay, and our height is unknown. We are looking for this piece right here. Okay, because we want it perpendicular to our base. Okay, so the way that we do this is we have to draw a right triangle. Okay, your right triangle is going to use your slant height as the hypotenuse. Okay, so if we draw this out to the side, our slant height is our hypotenuse, which is 13. Okay, your height is perpendicular to the base. Okay, and of a square, it's going to be right down the middle. Okay, so if we're looking at just this right triangle, then our length right here would be 1/2 of your total length. Okay, so this length here would be 5. Okay, if you know your Pythagorean triples, it's going to be very easy to figure out what our missing leg length is. If you do not, you're setting up a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared is 5. Sorry, a is 5. B is our unknown. C is 13. So you have 25 plus b squared equals 169. Subtract 25 from both sides. B squared equals 144. Square root, b equals 12. So our unknown side is 12, which means that our height is 12. Okay, so using your formula sheet or your cheat sheet that we made yesterday, okay, we're going to fill in the lateral area, surface area, and volume. Okay, the lateral area is 1/2 capital P L. So we have 1/2 P, which is 40, our slant height, which is 13, and plug that into your calculator. Okay, you should get 260 centimeters squared. Do not forget your units. It's a very easy way to lose points. Okay, surface area, same thing as total. Remember, it doesn't have to say the word total for that to mean what you're calculating. So make sure that anytime it says surface area or total surface area, okay, that you're finding the same thing. So you have 1/2 capital P L plus capital B. So 1/2 40 times 13. This is what we just found over here. So our lateral area. Now we're adding in the area of our base. So again, using your calculator, or if you can do it mentally. Okay, you should get 360 centimeters squared. Volume of a pyramid is 1/3 capital B times H. 1/3, 100 times 12. So again, with your calculator, 100 times 12 divided by 3 or multiplied by 1/3. Okay, should get 400 centimeters cubed. Okay, so the only thing that really makes pyramids remotely difficult is finding your height of your pyramid. Okay, so don't forget to draw your right triangle and use Pythagorean theorem. Okay. All right. Now we're going to look at the example of a cone. Okay, again, we're finding lateral area, surface area, and volume. This time it says round your answers to the nearest tenth. Okay, so make sure that we're paying attention, rounding to the nearest tenth. Okay, this time we have a cone. Okay, again, we should know what P, B, L, and H stand for because we just did that up top. Okay. Your base of your shape is a circle. Okay, we talked about this last class. The same thing as a perimeter of a circle is your circumference. Okay, how we find circumference is 2 pi r. Okay, so we're going to have 2 pi. Our radius is 8. Okay, so 16 pi centimeters is our perimeter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in pi. Okay. We're going to have to round later on, which is what this rounding to the nearest tenth is for our areas. Okay. Area of the base. Okay, is a circle, so you have pi r squared, pi 8 squared, 64 pi centimeters squared. Okay, our slant height. Okay, our slant height, again, we drew this on our picture in our notes last week. Okay, this is our slant height. We're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find our slant height. This time we're solving for a hypotenuse. So you have 10 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. 10 squared is 100. 8 squared is 64. 164 equals c squared. Square root. Okay, so type in your calculator the square root of 164. Round to the nearest tenth. And you should get 12.8 centimeters. Okay, and your height is already given to you. The height of your cone is 10 centimeters. All right, now we're doing lateral area. Okay, formula for lateral area is pi r L. So you have pi times your radius, which is 8, times L, which was 12.8. (102.4 pi centimeters squared). Total surface area, pi r L plus pi r squared. Okay, we just found pi r L, which was 102.4 pi. So plus pi radius squared. 102.4 pi plus 64 pi equals 166.4 pi centimeters squared. Okay, again, that's a 6, 166.4. Okay, volume, same volume formula as a pyramid. 1/3 capital B times H. 1/3 64 pi times 10, which equals 213.3 pi centimeters cubed, because we're in volume now. All right, so now we've done an example of a pyramid and a cone. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. We're going to do some more practice. All right, number 1, you have a cone. Okay, so first let's figure out our radius is what? If our diameter is 16, our radius should be 8 units. Okay. Our height is what? Hopefully you said 15. What is our slant height? Okay, hopefully you said we don't know, because we do not know our slant height. So we are going to find it using Pythagorean theorem. Remember, your slant height is on the edge of your cone. Okay, this is what we're looking for. Okay, what would be the length of this distance here? The radius. Okay, so we're going halfway across the base, so it is the radius, which means that half of 16 is 8, which we found earlier. Okay, so now we're just using Pythagorean theorem to solve for our slant height, which is the hypotenuse. So you have 15 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. 225 plus 64 equals c squared. 289 equals c squared. Square root, square root. And you get 17 equals c. Okay, so our slant height is 17 units. Okay, doing this work at the beginning will make your life easier when you start solving for lateral area, surface area, and volume. Okay, so again, lateral area, pi r L. So you have pi times your radius, which is 8, times L, which is your slant height. Go ahead and leave it in terms of pi. (136 pi units squared). Okay, total surface area, you have pi r L plus pi r squared. Pi 8, slant height is 17, plus pi 8 squared. We just found this component right here. That was 136 pi plus 8 squared, which is 64 pi. Add those two together and you get 200 pi units squared. On your skills check, a couple of you guys were losing your pi or forgetting to put it back in place. Okay, after you multiply, pi doesn't just disappear. Make sure you bring it back. After you add, okay, pi doesn't just disappear. So make sure you include pi in your answer. Okay, volume, 1/3 B times H. How do we find the area? What is the formula for finding the area of our base? Okay, our base is a circle. So hopefully you said pi r squared. Okay, pi r squared is going to give me my capital B, and then times H. R is 8. H is 15. So we have 1/3 pi times 64 times 15. Okay, so when you type this in the calculator, if it were me, I would multiply 64 times 15, divide it by 3. 64 times 15, divide by 3, and you get 320 pi units cubed. Okay, number 2 is a pyramid. Okay, and the important thing about number 2 is it says that the base is regular. Okay, take 30 seconds, think to yourself, what does it mean for a shape to be regular? Okay, a shape is regular when all sides are congruent. Okay, so if the base of this is regular, then all sides are 30 units. Okay, so in this case, again, we'll have a square pyramid because it's a regular base, which means all sides are going to be congruent. All right, so we know that this side is 30, back here is 30, over here is 30. So let's do our P, B, L, H. Okay, the perimeter of your base is going to be 30, 30, 30, and 30. So 4 times 30, which is going to give you 120 units. Area of your base is a square, so side squared or length times width. So 30 times 30. (900) units squared. Okay, do slant height last, but your current height is just 20 units. That's given. Okay, again, to find our slant height, going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay, if it makes it easier, draw out what your triangle looks like so that you know what to solve for. So we have a height of 20. This is our unknown. And then our other leg length is going to be half of the length of our base. So half of 30 is going to be 15. Okay, and I'm solving for a hypotenuse. So 20 squared plus 15 squared equals c squared. 400 plus 225 equals c squared. 625 equals c squared. Take the square root. And your slant height becomes 25. So 25 units. Okay, now we can do this part because this is the easy part. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Okay, it should be plenty of time. 2 minutes to fill out the rest of your areas and volumes. Begin. All right. So for lateral surface area, you have 1/2 P times L. So you're going to have 1/2 of 120 times your slant height. So you should have got 1,500 units squared. Okay, for total surface area, 1/2 P times L plus area of your base. So you should have had 2,400 units squared. And for volume, 1/3 of 900 times 20. So your volume should have been 6,000 units cubed. Okie dokie, hopefully we're starting to get the hang of this. Okay, really all it is substituting into formulas. After you do the hard part, this part should be easy. All right, number 3. Again, I'm going to let you guys do this all on your own. I'm going to give you 4 minutes. Okay, start with finding perimeter of your base, area of your base, height, and slant height. Begin. 4 minutes. Keep in mind that it says that your base is regular. You have 2 minutes. One minute. All right, so the base is regular, so that should have told you that you have a square base. Okay, so your perimeter of your base, okay, should have been 192 units. Okay, your area of your base would have been 2,304 units squared. Your height is 10 units. Okay, and then our slant height is unknown, so you needed to find your slant height. Okay, so if you draw your right triangle off to the side, you had 10 as your height, 24 as one of your legs, and you were solving for x. Okay, so your slant height should have been 26 units. Again, solving for hypotenuse using Pythagorean theorem. Okay, so we're going down and we're plugging it in. 1/2 perimeter, 192 times slant height, which was 26. Your lateral area should have been 2,496 units squared. Okay, your surface area, 1/2, 192 times 26 plus 2,304. Okay, so you're basically taking this plus 2,304, and you get 4,800 units squared. Okay, and your volume, 1/3, 2,304 times 10, and that gives you 7,680 units cubed. All right, so we've gotten practice now doing the lateral area, surface area, and volume of pyramids and cones on our own, as well as together. So now let's look at number 4. Okay, number 4 is a CBA-like problem, so make sure that you're paying attention. Maybe star this, circle it, whatever you need to do. And it talks about a cone being cut parallel to the base. Okay, a plane slices through a cone that is parallel to its base. It has created a smaller cone inside the larger cone, creating two similar shapes. What is the ratio of the lateral area of the smaller cone to the lateral area of the larger cone? Okay, so right now you have a big cone, okay, your large cone, which is what I just found, okay, that's this pink cone, okay, has a height of 10 meters. Okay, then you have your smaller cone. Excuse my cones. They're very ugly, but it's okay. You have your smaller cone, which is this little part right here. Okay, and it has a height of 6 meters. Okay, so looking at the scale factor of 10 meters and 6 meters, that's just heights. Okay, do you have scale factor, area ratio, or volume ratio? Just comparing the two heights. Okay, hopefully you just said scale factor. Okay, because remember that anytime we are in our units to the first power, it's always scale factor, whether it's height, radius, diameter, perimeter, etc. Okay, and I'm going to do small to large. If you want to do large to small, that's fine, but make sure you're consistent. Okay, so far I know that my large to small ratio is 6 to 10, which simplifies to 3/5. 3/5. Okay, it wants to know the ratio of the lateral area of the smaller cone to the lateral area of the larger cone. Okay, so it actually does want the ratio from small to large. Okay, so make sure that you put it in the proper order. So it actually should be small to large. Okay, so now that we're in scale factor, how am I going to get to lateral area ratio? Okay, hopefully you said square it. Okay, that's from chapter 3. Okay, so we're squaring our scale factor, which is going to give me area ratio. Okay, numerator squared is 9. Denominator squared is 25. Okay, so my lateral area of my smaller cone to the lateral area of the larger cone is going to be at a ratio of 9 to 25. Okay, so again, this is a CBA-like problem. Okay, so star it, circle it, whatever you want to do, but make sure that you are comfortable with picking apart two overlapping cones, okay, and applying scale factor and maybe area ratio, maybe volume ratio, okay. If it was volume ratio, what would you have done to the scale factor? Hopefully you said cubed it, okay, but remember the first step is to simplify. We do not want to square or cube 6/10. We need to simplify this first. Okay. All right, go ahead and turn the page. Last 3 problems. All right, so the figure shown is a rectangular prism with a right square pyramid on top. Which of the following is the surface area of the entire solid excluding the square base? Okay. So surface area of the entire solid, but excluding the square base. Okay, So really it should say square bases because we're not going to do the floor, okay, and we're not going to do the ceiling. Okay, so imagine if we were just painting the outside of our pyramid and of our prism. So what do we need to find for the pyramid and the prism? Okay, hopefully you said lateral surface area. Okay, so we want the lateral surface area of the pyramid and the lateral surface area of the prism. Okay, so let's start with the prism first. Okay. So lateral SA prism. Okay, how do we find the lateral surface area of a prism? Perimeter times height. Okay, so your perimeter is 8, 8, 8, and 8. So hopefully you said 32 feet. Okay, the height of your object is 10 feet. Okay, so the lateral surface area of your prism is 320 feet squared. Okay, so now we have our pyramid. Okay, we know that this is 8, 8, 8, 8. To find the lateral surface area of a pyramid, it is 1/2 perimeter of base times slant height. So you're going to have 1/2. Perimeter of your base is still 32. Okay, now we need to find slant height. Okay, so if we know that our entire height of our 3D figure here, our composite figure, is 16, and the height of the prism is 10, that leaves us with a height of what for our pyramid? Okay, hopefully you said 6 feet. Okay, so again, if I pull apart my right triangle, I have a height of 6. This is my unknown. Okay, what do I know about the length of this leg? Okay, hopefully you know by now that the length of this leg is half of the length of your base. So half of 8, which is 4. Okay, so you're going to have 6 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. So you have 52. Square root, let's go ahead and round to the nearest hundredth. Square root of 52 rounded to the nearest hundredth. Okay, should have got 7.21 units. Okay, so your slant height is 7.21. So that's what we're plugging in over here for our slant height. Okay, 32 times 7.21 times 1/2 is 115.36 units squared. Okay, so we just found the lateral surface area of the prism, lateral surface area of the pyramid. Okay, it's asking for the total surface area, so what should we do? Hopefully you said add it together. So you have 320 plus 115.36 equals 435.36 units squared. All right, number 6, almost done, 2 more. Number 6, 2 similar cones have radii of 4 centimeters and 6 centimeters. Okay, so if we're talking about radius, are we doing scale factor or are we doing area or volume? Okay, hopefully you said scale factor. Okay, I'm going to go small to large. Okay, 4 to 6, which simplifies to 2/3. Okay, the surface area of the smaller cone is 36 pi centimeters squared. Find the surface area of the larger cone. Okay, so we're going from scale factor to area ratio. Okay, so what do we need to do to our scale factor? Square it. Okay, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. Okay, we have the area of our smaller cone, so smaller is on top, so that's 36 pi over x. Cross multiply and divide. 4x equals 324 pi. Divide by 4. Should get 81 pi centimeters squared. Okay, so that type of problem is reviewed from chapter 3. Okay, so make sure you know that kind of stuff for your quiz. Okay, so now you see how we're kind of applying. Now we're putting more information as far as, okay, now you actually know what a cone is. You know how to find the area of the cone. So now we can apply scale factor as well. Okay, number 7, again, CBA-like question. So circle it, star it, whatever you want to do. A snack stand serves a small order of popcorn in a cone-shaped container and a large order of popcorn in a cylindrical container. The large cylindrical container has a diameter of 8 inches and a height of 7 inches. So I'm going to draw my cylindrical container. Okay, we have a diameter of 8 inches and a height of 7 inches. Okay, which means my radius is 4 inches. In order to fill the larger container, you fill the smaller cylindrical container 7 times and pour the popcorn into the large container. If the diameter of the cylindrical container is congruent to the diameter of the cone-shaped container, what is the height of the small cone-shaped container? Round to the nearest thousandths. Okay, so you also have your cone. Okay, your cone has the same diameter as your cylinder, so has a radius of 4 inches, diameter of 8 inches, and our height is what we're looking for. Okay, what was throwing me off is there's a typo. It says in order to fill the larger container, you fill the smaller. This should be cone-shaped. containers 7 times. So 7 of these fills all of this. So it takes 7 of these to fill 1 of these. Okay, so when we're talking about filling things, are we talking about surface area or volume? Okay, hopefully you said volume, so we're focused on volume. So let's find the volume of our cylinder. So volume of a cylinder is capital B times H, which we've talked about is pi r squared times H, because we find the area of our circular base by pi r squared. Okay, so you're going to have pi times 4 squared times your height, which is 7. Okay, so you're going to have 112 pi. Okay, it says to round to the nearest thousand, so I'm actually going to get a numerical value for 112 pi. Sorry, a decimal value for 112 pi. And that's going to be 351.858 inches cubed. All right, so we know that the volume of my entire popcorn cylinder is 351.85 inches cubed. You know that 7 scoops using the cone fills the cylinder 1 time. Okay, so how am I going to figure out the volume that only 1 cone-shaped scoop is? Okay, so I know the total. I know 7 of these equals this. So how do I figure out what just 1 of these equals? Hopefully you said to divide your total by 7. Okay, so you get the area of 1 cone as 265 inches cubed. Okay, so now I know that 1 cone is equal to 50.265 inches cubed. So I'm going to set this equal. 50.625 equals 1/3 B times H. Okay, again, 50.625 equals 1/3. To find the area of our base, it's pi r squared times H. Okay, I'm going to substitute in. Our radius is 4, and our height is unknown. So again, I'm going to move over here. 50.625 equals, I'm going to say 16/3 pi h, because 4 squared is 16. So I can put 16/3 pi times h. Okay, if I round that to the nearest thousandths, pi divided by 3, it's going to give me 16.755 h. Divide. Uh-oh. Made a mistake this whole time. Sorry, guys. 50.265. All these should be 265. Sorry. I was wondering why my math wasn't working out. Hopefully you caught that mistake before you did too much. But 50.265, divide that by 16.755. And your height is 3 inches. All right, so this problem is extremely involved, okay? But this is a CBA-like problem. So I encourage you to continue to work through your homework. There's another question like it on your homework. It's actually the same question, so you can challenge yourself by doing this again on your homework. But again, obviously don't look at your notes. Try to do it yourself. Because again, this is on your CBA. So you have to find the volume of a cylinder, find the volume of what one cone would be, and then find for that missing height. Okay, so again, your quiz next class covers everything we did today, everything we did with Chapter 3, and everything we did on Friday, which was the surface area and volume of cylinders, spheres, and prisms. Okay, so you have the remaining probably 30-ish minutes of class to work on the homework assignment from tonight. And I'm sure many of you did not do the homework assignment from last time, which was the spheres, prisms, and cylinders. So you have plenty to be working on. Also, if you finished everything, then you can use this time to study for your quiz. Okay, a lot of you guys need a good, strong quiz grade. So make sure that you are using your time wisely. Answer key to the homework is up here. And if you have any questions, like I said, make sure you come into tutorials for help or Trailblazer time. Also, reminders, retests are on Thursday and Friday, okay? Make sure that your test corrections are done, retest reviews are done, and they are, again, Thursday and Friday morning, Trailblazer time, or afternoon, okay? Your answer keys for your homework assignments have also been posted on the Learning Hub. So, again, make sure you're accessing those and checking your work. Okay? I will see you guys all on Thursday. Have a great rest of your evening. And, again, use this class time wisely. I don't want any names left by the sub. So, make sure that you are staying on task. Have a great night. Make good decisions.